welcome back to the Rush Hour podcast, where we discuss various Yu-Gi-Oh topics for 15 minutes. And today we are going to be talking about Yu-Gi-Oh pricing. This is a very, very controversial thing right now. And in fact, a lot of modern players, advanced players, are quitting the game because the pricing is so bad for modern Yu-Gi-Oh. I can't say the same for Edison because right now, knock on wood, Edison's pricing is really good for Ultimate Time Wizard, or I shouldn't say it's really good. It's good if you win, okay?
Yep.
And Sizzle and I here, we've both won Ultimate Time Wizard tournaments. I sold my giant Judgment Dragon for $6,000. Bronte, who won after me, sold his giant Substitute for $6,500. Steve Silverman and his team sold the Caius, Mobius, and Riser for $12,000, which is $4,000 per player. And then Matt Kalinda sold the Black Rose Dragon for $5,000. And also Ernie sold the Giant Minerva from YCS Richmond for $5,000. He sold that right in front of me in the lobby of his hotel. So every single card except the Vegas 3 cards has gone for no less than $5,000 for Ultimate Time Wizard. That pricing is very good for, I think, what we're doing. We're playing like eight or 9 rounds at most, top 8 always, and then it's 3 rounds and you win. If you win, you get like this pretty top heavy prize. And that is actually when I won my Judgment Dragon and sold it for $6,000, Silverman told me that I got more than the guy Paulo who won the main event in Indianapolis. He was like, I'm not even kidding. He got at most $3,000 in value because what do you get? Like the meme right now is that you get a Nintendo Switch. That is like the running meme right now in the community. You've heard this, right?
Yeah, I've seen the pack meme where he just like comes out with a bunch of Nintendo Switches.
Yeah,
that's really funny. Yeah.
It is really unfortunate though. But what do you think about the pricing thing that's happening in all of Yu-Gi-Oh? Like speak to retro and also to advanced.
Okay, so not to make this video a gajillion hours long, but retro really good, like you said, top heavy. The one thing they need to change is top 8 through 4 need to get their own. They can't get a hamster playmat. They need to actually get something unique to the Ultimate Time Wizard.
I agree, 100%.
You can't get the same thing for winning an 8-man pod. That's the only complaint I have for retro. Like it's essentially a SJC on crack in terms of the numbers, and then the top 8 cut no matter like how many players it is. Hopefully that changes. But yeah, like in terms of pricing, I think it's pretty good. And then in terms of modern Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't play modern, but they have to play a gajillion more rounds than us. It is definitely like harder on your mental and on your body.
Right.
And the fact that they get less than us, and the fact that it's not even anywhere close to any other card game that you could play right now is not justifiable.
That's the main complaint too, is that right now there's a bunch of competitors to Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, there always has been, but I think these are legitimate ones. Before there were a bunch of card games that would sprout up that I don't think really matter, and they will always die out. And I don't think One Piece or Lorcana, One Piece is the biggest IP next to Pokemon, right? And then Disney is Disney. So like they're not going away is what I'm saying. They're going to be around and their pricing is amazing. Apparently if you top a regional in One Piece, you get like 5,000 plus. I think that I might be undervaluing it a little bit, but that's just for top 8. That's not for winning it. That's just for top 8ing it. You get like serialized cards and stuff like that. Lorcana, you get the gold Mickey. It can be worth anywhere from, $5,000 all the way up to like, there's some that sold for $30,000. I went on eBay and checked, and there's some that's listed for over $30,000 because they're serialized. And depending on which number you get, if you get any of the cool numbers like number 1, number 23, number 69, there's certain numbers that just go for a lot if you get them. This is all coming from Steve Silverman, who's very well versed in the Yu-Gi-Oh market and just the card game market. And he was explaining that obviously Lorcana and One Piece, if you do well in those, you actually get tens of thousands of dollars as a prize, which I want to be clear about something. I don't think that making any of these card games your career or trying to turn them into your job or whatever is a real thing at the end of the day. Like no matter which one you play, I don't think that your goal should be to play for prizes. I do think that prizes are nice to have, but I don't think that your main goal should be I'm playing this because I want to earn a living or make this my career, because it's just not reasonably sustainable without you doing something to supplement that, like content creation or buying and selling the cards themselves or stuff like that. Like you can't just play the game and live off of it. This is not the early 2000s where Magic players were getting actually paid to show up to events and stuff like that. So if people are looking to make a career out of Yu-Gi-Oh or even One Piece and Lorcana, I think that that's already the wrong approach. It's just not realistic for most people to do that.
Yeah, 100%. But the thing is, I mean, you should be playing the game you play for fun, but the prizes do mean something. Like it is definitely really nice to get, 5, 10K out of nowhere.
100%.
Card games are expensive. But to me, the main thing is, well, one, if you're going to play a card game, and you want to like, invest in one, you might as well invest in the one that's actually going to give you something back more.
Yeah.
But two, the pricing it's just more, to me, it's more what it means. Like, it's this DMOC I have here, like,
Yeah, you
it's
didn't sell
cool.
your prize card from winning Ultimate Time Wizard Raleigh this year. You kept it, and you could. I'm sure that DMOC will go for at least $5,000 because again, no prize card is going for under 5K so far for Edison.
Yep,
Why'd
yep.
you keep it?
It's more. Well, one, I don't really need the money, but two, it's more like it's what it means to me. Like, it's essentially like a trophy. I love DMOC.
Yeah,
It's priceless to me, essentially.
I love
Almost like
that.
it's almost in that range. Like, let's say it's worth 50K. I probably still maybe I'd sell. I don't know, but like
Yeah, I was
the
about to
point.
say 50K is like, bro, you have to. Like,
Yeah, you have.
I would force
You
you
kind of
to,
have to.
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's it's not. It's whatever the point. I get the point that you're making though. Is that at the end of the day, to you, the card is worth more than whatever cash value some collector would place on it between 5K and whatever. Like, it's just like it's worth more
Right.
to you than that because it
Right.
is a we don't get a trophy for winning Ultimate Time Wizard. The giant card technically is our trophy. For me, I sold mine because I don't, and I explain this to a lot of people, but I'll explain it now on air. I've never had a connection to Judgment Dragon. I've never topped with it ever in my life. I have a lot of tops in Yu-Gi-Oh! I've never topped with JD ever. I don't have any kind of like memories about JD particularly that make me like, oh, I have a connection to the card. Now, if I won the giant substitute, we could talk about that. If I won maybe a giant Dark Magician of Chaos like you did, or a Dark Magician, something like that, where people actually called me the Dark Magician, stuff like that, I would be more inclined to keep it. But when I won the JD, I was like, one, I know someone who this is his favorite card, and that's who I sold it to. He's a collector. It's his favorite card. And for me, again, it just didn't have any like intrinsic value to it. I don't have a past with it. Like Steve Silverman won a YCS. He won his first ever YCS with Judgment Dragon. So to him, like if he won that one, he probably would have kept it because it's like he also doesn't need the money. And we're all adults, we all have careers and stuff like that. He doesn't need the money. And it's like, this is JD. This means something to me sentimentally, right? And I wish that I could have won one of the ones that would be sentimental. Maybe I will. You never know what the future holds, but I totally understand your reasoning for that. And it is nice that you have the option though. It's nice that you could sell that for 5K minimum, and that's way more than what the advanced players can do with their Nintendo Switch right now.
Yeah, but it's also just what it means to me. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched the show Suits, but basically those lawyers are rich as hell, and basically they don't care about the salary in terms of money. They care about like what it represents to them. Like, they value the number that they have over their head. And like I feel like players value, like, they can say like, hey, I won, like I didn't sell it, but hey, I won a 10, 20,000, 5,000 whatever dollar in prizing. And that is something you can't really say when you play Yu-Gi-Oh, because
Yeah.
prizing is just garbage.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people are making an exodus out of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or at least that's what it seems to be. I'm seeing a lot of media being created about people quitting the game. There's a really big video. There's multiple really big videos going on right now. MBT made one, Jess made one, the player from Europe that they're quitting. I actually watched that one. It was like a 10-minute video explaining why. I'm not sure what they identify as. I'm going to say them. They made a video saying that they were quitting the game because it's just not sustainable. They have won multiple tournaments at this point. I remember they won a really big tournament with Rika, the Rika deck, and they still didn't get too much for the win. And now if they just top the event, they also don't get very much for that too, which really sucks. And I just feel bad because I used to be an advanced format player back in the day. And I guess I can speak a little bit to the prizing back then. It wasn't really much any better than it is now. Like, honestly, it's always Yu-Gi-Oh's prizing was never what I played the game for. I just love the game. I think that most of us love Yu-Gi-Oh. It's hard for some people to quit. Like it's just hard to quit. Even if another card game is offering you more, it's hard to quit because you love Yu-Gi-Oh. Not necessarily the prize. You just love the game. And that's what it was for me too. Like when me, Billy, Jeff, Pat, Hoban, Joe Giorlando, we were all on a team. We weren't really paying or playing for the prizing, to be honest. We were playing because we just loved this game so much.
Yeah, the game's just too fun. The gameplay is too good. The clout is really, really fun, I guess. But
yeah, the clout is fun within the verse, right? Within the Yu-Gi-Oh verse, it's the clout is nice, right? I've been Frazier Smith since 2010, and so it's been 14 years, and that is a prize in itself. That's why like I'll never have a strong connection to any prize that I get now per se, unless it's like really sentimental to me, because I do have my YCS trophy from when I won the main event YCS. Like I have a physical trophy for that, and I would never sell that. Like to me, that is a priceless thing. But I think about people like Chris LeBlanc, who's won 6 YCSs and probably doesn't really have anything to show for it. Not to say it in a bad way, but just like monetarily wise, whatever money he's won from those 6 YCSs is probably already spent, which is like in other card games, if he won 6 tournaments in Lorcana or 6 tournaments of One Piece, he'd be caked up. He'd be caked up crazy.
What do you mean by that?
You put so many hours into this game and just get like nothing, but there's not much to show for your grind, and that's really annoying. I think Konami's going to address it. They probably know it's a problem. It's going to be an issue for
people. Their top players are complaining now. Before, it was the people who never won prizing anyway that were complaining, and it was just kind of like one of the things I hate is random people telling you to quit Yu-Gi-Oh to play One Piece or quit Yu-Gi-Oh to play Lorcana because there's money in it and all this other stuff, when these people never won or did anything in Yu-Gi-Oh either. So it's like, if you are a plumber or just a fish in Yu-Gi-Oh and you go over to the other card game and you're also not winning in that one, you should not be over here yelling at people to quit Yu-Gi-Oh and kind of talking down on them, because that's what the error that I'm seeing on like Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that, and Twitter, when these people say these things like, oh, you should quit, that game is shit, and the prizing over in One Piece is so much better, but like, you're not winning prizing in either. So I don't really think that this ever concerned you. Like, the prize card being a normal monster was never really your issue anyway, to be honest. So I just, that whole thing is annoying.
The top players are only quitting the game. Imagine if a top player said, I'm going to go to One Piece or Lorcana. Like, that would be insane.
And that's what I think is going to start to happen. I mean, they can't ignore the money for too long, because if you're in your young 20s, like I'm not a young 20-year-old man anymore, so my priorities are different. I can't focus as much as you need to be one of the top players in like Lorcana and One Piece, learn a whole new game, play test it for hours on hours on end, and then put that effort in to kind of become one of the top players. I don't have that time anymore. I just don't have the freedom to do that.
That's why we play Edison.
We play Edison, right? Because we learn Edison. You play your value, I play my frogs. I've been playing this deck for over a year now. It's not going to look. The format doesn't really change, so I don't have to keep play testing per se, and that's a different conversation we can have, because to some degree that's not true, but we don't have to get into that right now. But yeah, there's just this whole thing where people are almost bullying others into going to other card games for the prizing, and I just think that like it's silly, because at the end of the day, even if Lorcana and One Piece's prizing is better, they're still shit compared to, if you want to talk about card games, you can just play poker. Right? Like, if you actually want to talk about return on investment, right? The card game that just trumps all of these is poker. It's not even close. Like, you're wasting your time. If your argument is that you're wasting your time playing Yu-Gi-Oh because the prizing is so bad, then a poker player could just shit on you the same exact way. I think the people who like playing One Piece like playing One Piece. I think the people who like playing Lorcana like playing Lorcana, and people who like playing Yu-Gi-Oh like playing Yu-Gi-Oh. And I don't necessarily think the answer is to quit and go to another card game just because the prizing is better. That's my opinion on this situation. That's how I personally feel, because I do a lot of things in my life now because of happiness, like my own personal happiness. And I hope that everyone gets to that point where they do things that they like doing and love doing, and not necessarily doing it just because of money.
Yep, I agree. I'm not going to lie, though. I did try Lorcana.
Silver.
Silverman bought me out at at Nats, but yeah, I mean, I top forward a 8-man tournament and got a $300 card. So
it actually moves for $300.
Yep. Well, I think now it's like way less, but yeah, it was like their store promos. But yeah, that's
pretty good.
You can never do anything like that in Yu-Gi-Oh. Go to a local and just it's. The pricing is on another level, which will drive other people to other card games for sure.
It absolutely will, because that's just the reality. I mean, I think even some people are starting to play Edison more seriously, or take it more seriously, because they're finding out that we're selling these cards for these thousands of dollars, which still pales in comparison to the other card games and pales in comparison to poker. So it's like, I don't, like me and you, we just don't play for prizing. So if you're coming to this podcast or this channel for like people to tell you to go to the other card game for that, it'll never happen, because that's just not who I am. Like, Sizzle still has his Dark Magician of Chaos that is, again, worth at least $5,000 hanging on his wall. You see it right behind him. I do hope Konami addresses this, though.
They have to. It's going to be a problem in the future, no matter, like, modern players are already coming to Edison because it's just like they just enjoy the game and they don't want to quit, and pricing is still just as good. Exactly.
The pricing for winning it is blatantly better. If I say this, if you've won a YCS already, then you really don't have anything to gain from a main event. Like Chris LeBlanc winning a 7th YCS doesn't really do anything for real. Like, you already considered one of the best players or whatnot. Jesse Cotton winning his 6th YCS doesn't really do anything. So at this point, if they want money, then winning an Edison event, like putting those same skills and winning an Edison event, is just way better for them, because they at that point get like $6,000 or whatever, and that's just better. But yeah, that's our time. Here's our buzzers going off. But I hope you guys did enjoy this discussion about the pricing in Yu-Gi-Oh. Let us know what you think about this discussion, though. Do you feel like Konami is dropping the ball? Do you feel like a lot of people are leaving? Are you experiencing that in your local area? Like, are people at your locals not playing Yu-Gi-Oh anymore because of the pricing? Is there something that you have as a recommendation to Konami, maybe, that you could leave in the comment section, and also just for us to read? I would be interested to see what people have to say about that, because pricing is a part of the game and it should be something that is reasonable. And I feel like right now, I do agree that the pricing just is not reasonable in Yu-Gi-Oh! Even if other card games are doing it better. I'm not saying that Konami has to match it, but like, they could do better.
Much better.
Yeah. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.